So we as humans have always been fascinated by mind twisters like riddles and puzzles, but nothing intrigues the human mind more than a paradox. A paradox is a statement or situation that completely defies logic, which is why so many of us are perplexed by them, because our brains hear them and it's like, I don't know what to do with this information. So because I felt like making you guys think just a little bit this week, I gathered the most interesting ones to share with you guys. So here they are, the 10 most mind-twisting paradoxes of all time. Number 1 is the Ship of Theseus paradox. This paradox is also known as the grandfather's axe paradox. Suppose you have a ship made of 100 pieces of wood. Every now and then you replace an old piece of wood with a new piece and you keep the old pieces in a shed. Over the course of many years, you replace all of the old pieces with new pieces of wood, but that's still the same original ship to you, right? Well, the paradox occurs when you consider what happens when you take all of the old pieces of wood and reassemble them. The question then becomes, which is the original ship? And also, why are you building ships in the year 2014, man? What are you, Noah? Number 2 is the omnipotence paradox. This paradox asks, could an omnipotent being limit its own power? Another way to word it is, could God create a stone so heavy that even he couldn't lift it? Now this is paradoxical, because if God does have unlimited power and can do anything, then sure, of course he could create a stone that he couldn't lift. But if that's true and he couldn't lift it, then that's something he can't do, hence the paradox. This is actually one of the most well-known paradoxes in history and has been around since the days of ancient Greece. Number 3 is the Monty Hall paradox. This paradox is loosely based off the old TV game show Let's Make a Deal. Suppose you're on a TV game show and there's 3 doors. Behind one door is a car. Behind the other 2 doors are goats. Now suppose you pick a door, say door number 1, and the host, who knows what's behind each door, opens door number 3, which has a goat behind it, and asks you if you want to switch to door number 2. Now at this point you might be thinking, well, it doesn't matter because they all have a 1 in 3 chance, but therein lies the paradox. Believe it or not, it's actually advantageous for you to switch to door number 2 because it mathematically has a 2 in 3 chance of having a car behind it, which is completely counterintuitive. Now if you're wondering how that works, I don't have the time to mathematically explain it in this video, but just trust me, that's how it is. I think the real question here is, what happens when the contestants pick the wrong door? Do they get to keep the goat? Because I mean, that's not so bad. You get unlimited milk, a warm hoof to hold you on cold nights. It's magical. Number 4 is the unexpected hanging paradox. A judge tells a prisoner that he's sentenced to be hanged at noon one weekday in the coming week, but that it'll be a surprise and he won't know until the executioner knocks on his door on the chosen day. The prisoner reflects a bit on his new sentence and concludes that since it's to be a surprise hanging, that it can't happen on Friday because if it hasn't happened by Thursday, there would be only one day left, thus it isn't a surprise. He then continues to reason that the hanging can't be Thursday either because Friday's eliminated, and if it hasn't happened by Wednesday, Thursday would not be a surprise. He continues this line of reasoning and concludes that the hanging cannot happen on Wednesday, Tuesday, or Monday, and finally decides that the hanging will not happen at all. This is of course until the executioner knocks on his door on Wednesday at noon and everything the judge said came true. The paradoxical nature of this situation is primarily due to the language used and also the fact that if you don't go back and listen to that about 3 times over, you're not going to understand